Picking him up, giving him a ride back to his truck. They're doing all the Helmville cutting today. And they'll need to ride back to their vehicles to the Finn Ranch. So we're shuffling today. And they ran out of DEF, so I've got a car full of DEF too. What year did DEF start being a mandatory thing?
I think in 12 or 13. I hate DEF.
I know you hate DEF, but you
Just
have to have it.
$1,200 DEF module in the swath there because the little sensor went bad and you can't replace it. We ran out of DEF, which I didn't know we were out, but so had to make a special trip to town to get DEF. Hate it.
I know.
I usually have a 55-gallon drum of DEF at the pump, but it's out, so we're just boxing it for now. Saving the planet, one cardboard box and a plastic jug at a time, I guess.
Oh, honey.
Back at it cutting. Now I'm in Deer Lodge, so for you guys watching some of these haying videos, if you haven't been able to tell, we move around a lot. So we started in Townsend, which is 60 miles from where I live, and we hayed for a week and a half within about a 10-mile radius of the house, and we moved to Finn, which is where my brother's at, and did hay for him, and that's like 18 miles away. And then we went down to Helmville, where I lease, which is another, it's like 26 miles from my house. And then this morning loaded up the swathers and hauled them to Deer Lodge, which is 26 to my house, and Deer Lodge is 28 miles the other way. So we're kind of all over the place, but that's kind of what happens when you lease ground and do custom hay, and you got to chase it all over the place. But cutting my own hay on our place looks really good, so I'm happy about that. So I moved the pivot over and then cut 2 passes where the pivot's going to park. And then while I was here, I cut the other 4 end rows, and then we'll let the pivot go back. And then by tomorrow, when I come to cut the rest of it, or actually Chuck will cut the rest of it, we'll just clean those last 4 end rows up. My old swather, I could fit under these towers and get out of here at the end, but I can't do it on this one, so I'm gonna have to make the loop back around, I guess. There's Smokey, there's the pivot. We're up on this bench where it's at, and right down over the edge there is the buildings. And the other pivot is running on that ground that I seeded alfalfa into, and it was kind of a flop. I think that drill had bigger discs on it than what it had in the past, so it set that alfalfa a little bit too deep, and you could dig down and find where it germinated, but it just didn't have the power to come up and through. So kind of unfortunate. So regroup and see what happens. I got some triticale, a little bit of grass, and then every now and then you'll find a strip of alfalfa, but not that great. So at least this stuff here I'm cutting on this other pivot is pretty good hay. It's an older stand alfalfa and grass. If you get the water on it, a little fertilizer, it'll usually grow. We got an east wind that just blew the smoke in from a couple fires, one by Helena, and then there's some big ones in eastern Montana. So you can see it just really set in awful thick. Swung into the gas station to get fuel, and you never know when the local bakery will stock the donut counter there, and they did, so I had to get 2 mid-morning snack. I wasn't out here to bale Helmville, so I didn't get any of that on video, or kind of forgot when we were cutting, but it's kind of a long, narrow creek bottom. Put up some decent hay this year, so I'm here loading equipment and taking it to the next spot. Chuck got this pivot over here in Deer Lodge cut the day before yesterday, and with the heat I didn't think it would maybe go today, but it's dry, so I'm getting it raked this morning and we'll start baling it. Really good hay. I put a lot of water on it since my alfalfa didn't germinate and come up very good. I just focused all my sprinkler water at this, and probably the best that I've had on this place since I've owned it. There's a old reel rake that I have over here, so I didn't have to haul a rake, I just hooked onto it. Baylor operator is finishing up in Avon, so isn't here yet, so I jumped in the baler to get these end rows out of the way. It's nice to get those out so then the rake can turn around and not make a mess out of them. There it is, the new door for the tractor. It'll never be that clean again. Get the seal and all the hardware on it and get it installed. Working in my sandals here?
Yeah. No one would notice if you didn't say it. Putting the big window back in. So clean. What do you want?
A hammer. I'll go get it.
You're not. Why are you gonna hammer?
They gotta cap the pin in.
Well, I don't really want to hammer by your new fancy glass.
I'm not gonna hit my glass with the hammer.
I wouldn't even talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous because I think it tweaked that pipe.
Oh.
So when I was tightening it all down, like the handle pipe there.
Okay.
I was worried it was gonna spring that glass.
Cooper did his best to forget your medication, but he
Oh,
didn't.
you got it. Okay, good.
Turn it around.
He was behind me, and then he wasn't.
Oh, I measured that. The ones you had last year don't.
No, every year they basically go back out for bids, essentially.
So are they just everyone buying them up?
Yeah, so there's only 270 since 1970 that have been sold from the state. And once they're sold, they're basically, they buy it privately.
Good as new.
Uncle John's.
Well,
Oh, it's
like
so
to, but-
nice.
Just waiting for the pivot to get out of my way so I can finish raking these. Quentin's baling. Cooper's picking bales. All in the same field. That doesn't happen very often. I like to get these picked and get the water back on so I can get a little bit of growth. There's just enough water that it'll fill my pond about every other day, and then you can run the pivot. Kind of got some clouds coming in. It spit a little bit of rain earlier, but didn't amount to much. Place that I custom hay for Olsens. We're in some pretty good Timothy mix hay here. so hard though that I can't get ahead of the balers because my rows keep blowing away, but we're getting it done. Every now and then I have to go back and rake some that blew away, but there's hardly any moisture in this hay. We're so hot and dry, even early in the morning or at night you can't get any dew on it, it seems like, so we're just getting it done. 2 balers and rake. It's barely fitting out of this wheel rake. Baylor's raking with me today, but he wore out, so he's taking a little nap on the floor.
In the comic loader tractor.
What are we doing?
We're raking.
Yeah.
And they're baling. And then there's more places to be done. This is like, what is this place called?
This is Olsens.
No, what pasture are we in? The second or the fourth?
We're in about the 8th, and we have 4 more to go.
We're about in the 8th, and we have 4 more to go.
Okay, good job, bud. Got a little bit of rain today and kind of in between jobs, so we jumped on these bales over in Deer Lodge at Olsens that we put up. So I'm picking in the tractor, loading Cooper in there, and then Quentin's in the hay hiker, so I'm gonna get through all these in pretty short order. Started at about 1:30. I think we'll have 270 picked here before the evening's done, but it's getting pretty dark over there. Might get rained out. Picked up from the field and put in there in a little over 4 hours. A lot of slow going in by Quentin.